नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्यत देशतारिणी। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात देशतारिणी। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 गोपाल जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा गिरधारी राधे जय राधा गिरधारी राधे जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधे जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधे जय राधा रस बिहारी राधे जय राधा रस बिहारी राधे जय बांके बिहारी जय राधा बांके बिहारी राधे जय राधा बांके बिहारी राधे जय राधा मदन मोहन राधे जय राधा मदन मोहन राधे जय राधा कुंज बिहारी राधे जय राधा कुंज बिहारी राधे जय राधा बांके बिहारी राधे जय राधा माधव राधे जय राधा माधव राधे जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी भव तुम जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी भव तुम जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव बोलो हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। निताई गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। निताई गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। बोलो हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरधारी। यशोदनंदन व्रजयन रंजन। यशोदनंदन व्रजयन रंजन। यमुना तीरवनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। 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 नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवते भयम्। भगवतीमोत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकम्। Welcome everyone in Bhagavad Gita class. So we are in chapter number 12, chapter number 15, sloka number 12. So we'll recite the verses with translation, then we'll discuss, followed by Mangalachan. 15.11. Yatanto yoginaschainam pashyanti atmani avasthitam yatantopi akritatmano nainam pashyanti yachetasah. 15.12. Yad adityagatam tejo jagat bhasayate khilam chandramas chand yachandramasi yachagno tattejo vidhimamakam. 15.11. Yatanto yoginaschainam pashyanti atmani avasthitam yatantopi kritatmano nainam pashyanti yachetasah The enduring transcendentalists who are situated in the self-realization can see all this clearly. But those whose minds are not developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try to. 15.12 यद आदित्यगतं तेजो जगद्भासयतेऽखिलं यच्चन्द्रमसि यच्चाग्नो तत्तेजो विद्धि मामकम्. The splendor of the sun, which dissipates darkness of this whole world, comes from me, and the splendor of the moon and the splendor of the fire are also come from me. 15.13 गामाविश्य च भूतानि धार्म्यामि अहम् ओजसा उष्णामि चौषधिः सर्वाः सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मकः. I enter into each planet, and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby apply the juice of life to all vegetables. 15.14 अहम वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनां देहम् आश्रितः प्राणापान समायुक्तः पचामि अन्नं चतुर्विधम्. I am the fire of digestion in the body of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming. The digest to 4 kinds of foodstuffs. 15.15 सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्तः स्मृतिर्ज्ञानम् अपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहम् एव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद् वेदविद् एव चाहम्. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrances, knowledge and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. 15.16 द्वा इमौ पुरुषौ लोके क्षरश्चाक्षर एव च क्षरः सर्वाणि भूतानि कूटस्थो अक्षर उच्यते. So there are 2 classes of beings, the fallible and infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. 15.17 उत्तमः पुरुषस्त्वन्यः परमात्मे एति उदाहृतः यो लोकत्रयम् आविश्य विभर्ति अव्यय ईश्वरः. Besides these 2, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the 3 worlds and is maintaining. Besides these 2, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the 3 worlds and is maintaining them. 15.18 यस्मात्क्षरम् अतीतोऽहम् अक्षरादपि चोत्तमः अतो अस्मि लोके वेदे च प्रथितः पुरुषोत्तमः. Because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that Supreme Person. 15.19 यो मामेव असम्मूढो जानाति समोत्तमम् सा सर्वविद् भजति मां सर्वभावेन भारत. Whoever knows me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, without doubting is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata. 15.20 इति गुह्यतमं शास्त्रम् इदम् उक्तं मया नघ एतद् बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमानः स्यात्. buddhimanasya krityasya bharata. So this is the most confidential part of the Vedic scripture, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च रूपं सागरजातं सहगना अन्वितां तं सजीवं साधुवैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितां च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवाद पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। So we are in chapter number 15, श्लोक संख्या 12. So in श्लोक संख्या 12, in श्लोक number 12, we are going to discuss that God, we are totally dependent on Supreme Lord Krishna. So in chapter number 15, shloka verse number 11, we have seen that those who are not trained in knowledge, they are actually living in ignorance. Verse number 11. Yatanto yoginaschainam pashyanti atmani avasthitam yatantopi akritatmano nainam pashyanti achetasah. The endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly. But those whose minds are not developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try to. Hare Krishna. So, actually, so Srila Lord Sri Krishna is telling Arjuna that, oh Arjuna, those who are not trained in knowledge, those who don't have knowledge about Krishna, those who don't know the activities and incarnations of Krishna, they are actually living in ignorance. So what is the cure? How we can rectify this kind of ignorance. So those who are trained, they can see clearly because their minds are clarified by yoga practice and are situated in self-realization. So those who are performing yoga, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, whatever yoga, they are performing, they are actually in knowledge because they know the transcendental pastimes and uh, the birth, incarnation, and activities of Krishna. They are familiar with the activities of Krishna. That activities of Krishna is transcendental. Krishna is also transcendental. So everything about Krishna is transcendental. We can relate, we can establish relationship with Krishna. Why it is required? Because the objective of this life, the birth, is to understand about Krishna, to know about Krishna. But those whose minds are not developed, who are not situated in self-realization, they cannot identify, they cannot understand what is going on. They may try to do so, but it may not be, they may not be able to understand. So what is the meaning of yogina? So many yoga practice societies of modern, they are blind to self. There are so many yogas are going on in uh, society. They are doing meditation. They are doing different kinds of asanas, Ashtanga yoga, Patanjali yoga, but they are not satisfied. They are not able to understand the pastimes, the incarnations of Lord. They simply just do gymnastic exercises, physical health. So they are called yatantopi akritatman. Okay, bhakti yogis are the actual yogis. They have realized, they are the realized souls, word, and supreme Lord. And they can, those who are devoted, they can identify, they can see that everywhere God is there. In everyone's heart, God is residing. So they can see the things as they are. Okay, so then from verse number 12 to 15, we are going to discuss Purushottam Yoga, Krishna's position as the maintainer. So Krishna is the maintainer. Krishna is the giver and he is the ultimate maintainer too. So Krishna is sun, fire, as the one keeping in planets in orbit. Okay, so because of Krishna's energy only, all the planets are evolving in their orbit. Otherwise, they will leave the orbit and where a greater and greatest calamities can happen. Okay, so Krishna is the ultimate maintainer. Krishna maintains the vegetables, the fire of digestion. As the Paramatma in everyone's heart is the giver of remembrance, knowledge, forgetfulness, and as the compiler of the Vedanta and Gola. So Krishna is the giver of knowledge. Krishna is the giver of Vedas, and Krishna is the knower of Vedas. So Krishna is everything. Krishna is in Vedas, Krishna is in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is in Srimad Bhagavad. So Krishna is everywhere. So Krishna gives as well as maintain everything. Verse number 12. Yad adityagatam tejo jagat bhasayate khilam yad chandramasi yad chagno tat tejo vidhimamakam. The splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me. And the splendor of the moon and the splendor of the fire are also from me. So Krishna is explaining Arjuna that, oh Arjuna, I am everything. I am the sun. And whatever sunlight is there in the sun is also coming from me. I am the digestion of fire. I am the digestion of fire. And I am the moon. I am the light of moon. I maintain moon by giving the light to moon. So everything is Krishna. Krishna takes care of everything. Okay. So in verse number 12, Krishna is telling that I am the ultimate maintainer. So all the splendors come from Supreme Personality of Godhead. The sun, moon, electricity, and fire, everything. So what is the benefit of such a conception of life as given in this verse? So if one understands that Krishna is the sun, Krishna is the moon, Krishna is the fire, Krishna is the Krishna is everything. The one who understands this, they become a Krishna. Their mind becomes Krishna consciousness. Why? Because the unintelligent, those who are unintelligent. Who are the unintelligent? Those who don't have knowledge. So they are living in actually ignorance. So in such a conception of life, the beginning of Krishna consciousness lies a great deal of advancement for the conditioned soul in the material world. Sun provides illumination. Moon, as one of the stars, very pleasing to people and nourishes the vegetable. So in the night time, moon gives moonlight, and the moonlight is considered as very cold. So this coldness of moon nourishes the vegetables. So Krishna is nourishing the vegetable. Krishna is moon, and moonlight is nourishing Krishna vegetables. Splendor of the sun is also coming from Krishna. And when you eat something, it has to be digested. So I am the fire of digestion. So Krishna is telling about him. Okay, so one sun illuminates the entire solar system. So each universe has only one. So likewise, there will be many universes and many suns. Okay. And fire help in cooking and many factories. Without Lord's mercy, there cannot be sun, moon, or fire, without which no one can live. Can we live without sun? Can we live without moon? Okay. So everything created by Krishna has some objective. They have been assigned some duty. So this duty has to be performed. Sun has duty illuminating the entire darkness. Moon has duty to nourish the vegetable. Okay. Fire of digestion requires to digest the food that you have eaten. Okay. So in this way, Krishna is the ultimate maintainer. Krishna has given birth to us, and he is also maintaining to us. It is not like birth. Now your birth is you have come in this world. Now my job is finished. No, Krishna gives birth as well as Krishna maintains everything. Okay. Verse number 13. Gamavisya cha bhutani dharmyami aham ojasa ushnami chausadhiya sarvaha somo bhutva rasatmakah. So Krishna is the ras. Somo bhutva rasatmakah. I enter into each planet, and by my energy, they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables. So Krishna is saying, I am the moon and I am the one who nourishes the vegetables. All planets are floating in the air only by Lord's energy. They are floating because of Lord's energy and in their own orbit. They cannot change their orbit. Okay. So Lord enters into each atom, planet, and each living entity hurt by one planetary portion. Paramatma, Brahma, Brahma Samhita. living entity floats on water till he is alive because of the presence of spirit soul. So if you are swimming in the water, so as long as you have energy of Krishna, you have soul, till that time you can swim in the water. Once soul leaves the body will be drowned. Okay, so similarly, planets float because of presence of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Another analogy, planets are held like handful of dust in a feast. Thus, he keeps all moving and non-moving things in place. Okay, so these planets, universes are nothing but full of dust in a feast. Like Krishna has captured everything. Like in our feast, we can take the mud and whatever thing we can keep in our hand. As long as this thing is like this, it will be there. But once we release this, everything will fall down. Similarly, Krishna has got caught hold of everything, universe, each planet, everything moving and non-moving. Everything is in the feast of Krishna. Supreme Personality Godhead is the source of the moonshine. So what is the use of moonshine? The moonshine nourishes all the vegetables. So because of this nourishment, all the vegetables are tasty, becomes delicious and succulent. So importance of the word rasatmaka, supplying the juice. So this indicates everything becomes palatable by agency of Supreme Lord through the influence of the moon. So Lord has got a big agency. So everything is supplied from Lord. Nothing is beyond Krishna. Everything is under Krishna. The Lord holds earth, who gives vegetables. Vegetables are nourished by moonshine, which comes from the Lord. Okay? So vegetables are nourished by moonshine, and moonshine comes from the Lord. So Lord is moon as well as Lord is moonshine. So for proper nourishment of the vegetables, moonshine is required. Without moon, no life. Without sun, no life. Without digestion of fire, no life. Okay. In all the cases, Krishna is the maintainer of material world. So in the picture, we can see how Krishna is holding the entire universe, planet. Verse number 14. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashritah Pranapana Samayuktah Pachami Annam Chaturvidham. I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities. And I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the four kinds of foodstuffs. Okay, so Krishna is the maintainer of the material world. To digest, we need Krishna's energy, fire, and life airs, outgoing and incoming. Importance of digestive fire. So fire in the stomach digests all the food sent there. If the fire is not blazing, there is no hunger. Supporting references, Brihat Aranyak Upanishad, Lord Supreme Lord is situated as the fire in the stomach and digesting all kinds of food. There are many kinds of food stuff also. There are some food can be eaten, can be licked. Okay, so In Vedanta Sutra, it is also mentioned. Lord is situated within sound, body, air, and even with the stomach as digestive fat. So Lord is everywhere. So we are all lies. We are all lying in the Supreme Lord, Krishna. So nothing is beyond Krishna. That's why it is said, nothing is beyond Krishna. Verse number 15. So this is the verse number 14. Now 15. सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्तः स्मृतिर्ज्ञानम् अपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहम् एव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद् वेद एव चाहम्. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. So Krishna is saying, I am everything. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sanvishto. I am seated in everyone's heart as Paramatma. We have soul, Atma, but with soul, there is also Paramatma. So without soul, body is dead. Without super soul, soul cannot survive. So soul and super soul both are residing in our heart together. Like we have seen one example, on one branch of a tree, two birds are sitting. So one bird is enjoying the fruit and the other bird is watching, just watching. Similarly, in our body, there are two souls. One is super soul and the other is sukh soul. So soul and super soul both are residing. Soul is enjoying and super soul is just watching. Okay. Mattah smritir jnanam apohanam cha. So if you remember, it is because of Krishna. If you forget, it is because of Krishna. So everything is happening under the control of Supreme Power, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vedaischa sarvair aham eva vedyo. So Lord Krishna is saying, I am the compiler of all the Vedas. All the Vedas are written by me. No one else can write. It is all the activity of God who has created for us Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, different Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajurveda. All these, in all these Vedas, God Himself lies. Vedanta krida veda vid eva chaham. So, Lord Krishna is saying, who is the compiler of Vedas? I am the compiler of Vedas. Okay, no one else can write. So here Krishna is explaining Arjuna that, oh Arjuna, I am the supreme person. I should be worshipped. If the one is not worshipping, then he is living in ignorance. He is living in ignorance. And that ignorance is very, very dangerous. Okay, so this is the verse number 15. So verse number 15 is saying the only source, I am the only source. So, and Krishna is all good and merciful. He is the supplier and digester of food. And he, as the super soul residing in our heart, witnessing everything. He is the giver of knowledge as Vedas, Bhagavad Gita. So we are not independent. We are totally dependent on Krishna. Why? Because whatever we have, Krishna protects, and whatever you lack, Krishna supplies you. So Krishna is the ultimate maintainer. He gives birth as well as maintains the living entities. He is the only responsible person. So Vyasadeva written all Srimad Bhagavatam, all the Vedanta Sutras. Who was Vyasadeva? Vyasadeva was literary incarnation of Supreme Lord Krishna only. And Vyasji gave us Vedanta Sutra, Srimad Bhagavatam. Vedas have right direction for people. By following Vedas, they can perform sacrifices, different sacrifices, and they can be liberated. In Vedas, what is written about God? In the knowledge of Vedas are Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. Vedas provide perfection in 3 stages. So Vedas tells us that what is the relationship between living entity and God. So why Lord presents Vedic knowledge? Because a living entity individually needs to understand Krishna. Everyone has to understand Krishna. If not this life, the next, whatever life requires, number of life requires, you have to understand Krishna. Why? Because this life is given to you to establish relationship between living entity and Krishna, soul and supersoul. So Lord gives intelligence. Understanding the process of Vedas, by performing different processes, one approaches Him. Okay, so there are different processes to approach God. How? You can approach Vedic rituals, discussions of Vedic philosophy, and worship the Lord. So if you are discussing about Krishna, you are remembering Krishna. Okay, so performance of Vedic rituals, discussions of Vedic philosophy, and worship of the Lord. What is the goal of Vedas? At the end, one attains the supreme goal, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? So, what is the conclusion? Defines all these 3 stages of perfection. So, what is Paramatma? Paramatma is residing as Supersoul in our heart. Then Paramatma is the only initiator of every activity. So Paramatma witness all the past acts of the particular soul. So living entity forgets everything, but Lord remembers everything. Lord direction, He gives remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So Paramatma is the initiator of all activities. From verse number 16 to 20, Krishna talks about Purushottam Yoga, the 3 sloka of Bhagavad Gita, summarizing the Vedas and the Vedanta kinds of living entities. In verse number 16, we are going to see conditioned living entities are fallible. And the living entities, those who are living in Golok Vrindavan Dham, they are infallible. Verse number 17 talks about by both fallible and infallible is a transcendental supreme person who maintains, Supersoul maintains the 3 words. Verse number 18, and Krishna is celebrated in all the Vedanta Sutra, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad. Verse number 19 talks about whoever knows the position of Krishna always worship. So we are all dependent on Krishna. It is Krishna only who gives us intelligence, birth, and all. Verse number 20 talks about knowing this most confidential part of Vedic knowledge makes one wise and brings perfection to one's endeavors. Okay, so verse number 16 to 20, we'll see verse number 16. 3 Shloki Geeta. Sva imo purusho loke charakshakshar eva cha charah sarvani bhutani kutastaksho chara uchyate. So there are two classes of beings, the fallible and infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible. And in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. So there are two kinds of living entity, fallible, infallible, Shar and Akshar. So the living entities, those who are living in this material world, they are fallible, they are Shar. But those who are living in Golok, Vrindavan, Dhar, they are infallible. They are Akshar. Shar and Akshar. These are the two types of living entities. Okay. So, verse number 17 talks about Supreme Soul is master of both. He is the greatest personality. He enters the three worlds and then maintains them. And verse number 3 talks about I am the super soul. And I am the only celebrated in Vedas. Okay, you'll see verse number 16. The two kinds of living entities. Dva ima purusho loke charaschakshara eva cha charah sarvani bhutani kutastakshara uchyate. There are two classes of beings, the fallible and infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. So fallible means conditions, infallible means liberated. Conditions lives in material world and is liberated lives in spiritual world. The Golok Vrindavan Dham is a spiritual world. Fallibles, those who are fallible, they are not following 4 regulative principles. So those who are living in material world, they are fallible. Okay, so living entities are Jiva Bhuta. And the living entities are struggling in this material world with the mind and the 5 senses. And the body of living entities is undergoing 6 changes: birth, disease, old, death, and all these 6 changes belongs to this material world only, not to spiritual world. They never die. Why? They are always remembering Krishna. And when soul comes contact with this body and the material world, it also becomes contaminated. Okay, so any living entity is just changing the body. Once it gets old, change the body. Like we put out the old garment and we put on new garments. Okay. Similarly, body, soul also changes the body. When the body gets old, soul changes, goes to the next body according to the past deeds of living entities. So, infallible, they are in oneness with the Supreme Personality of God. So, oneness doesn't mean they don't have individuality. They have individuality, but they are one with, at the same time, they are one with Krishna also. It means there is no disunity. And they all work on the agreement of creation. In a spiritual world, the body does not undergo 6 changes like matter. And all the living entities are always liberated in oneness. Okay, so all the infallible souls lives in Golok Vrindavan Dhatu. Okay, so this is the 2 kinds of living entities, fallible and infallible. 17. Uttama purusastvanyah Paramatma udahirtah Yo lokatrayam avishya vibharti avyayah ishwarah. Besides these 2, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the 3 worlds and is maintaining them. Okay, so Supreme Soul is the master of both living entities. He is the greatest living personality. He enters into the 3 worlds and is maintaining them. Universe. Okay. So what is the reference? Supporting of reference Katha and Sweta's Vatar Upanishad, Nityo Nityanam. Okay. So, and this sloka, particular sloka, tells that both living and non-living entities are maintained by Krishna. Everyone is dependent on Krishna. So, who is a wise man who can obtain perfect peace? One who can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the Supreme Personality who is also present in everyone's heart as Paramatma and maintaining everyone. So Krishna enters into each one's heart as Paramatma and maintains each one. So soul without super soul is not going to be active. And soul, a body without soul is dead. Okay. So refutes Mayavad by saying that Krishna is the supreme maintainer. So Krishna, Mayavadis doesn't believe in that Krishna is the supreme maintainer. Okay. So Supreme Soul is the master of both living entities. Verse number 18. Krishna himself, Krishna is himself the super soul. Krishna is not different. Krishna is not different from super soul. Super soul is Krishna and Krishna is super soul. Okay. So verse number 18. Yasmat aksharam atitoham aksharaadapi chottamah ato asmi loke vedecha prathitah purushottamah. Because I am transcendental beyond both fallible and infallible. And because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that Supreme Person. So Krishna is saying, I am super soul. I am the transcendental. I am beyond fallible and infallible. Okay. So Krishna is the only personality who is celebrated in this world, in both the world, in the Vedas as the Supreme Person. So Krishna is celebrated everywhere. Krishna is worshipable. Why? Because Krishna is the birth giver. Krishna is the supreme maintainer. So he is giving birth as well as maintaining. That's why he is worshipped. Maintaining means what? Giving whatever you require for survival. The living entity in comparison to the Lord. Both are always individuals. Difference is that living entity at any stage, conditioned or liberated, cannot surpass in quantity the inconceivable potency of the Lord. So Lord is inconceivable. Living entities are limited, but Lord is not limited. So these 2 points refute that Supreme Lord and living entity are equal in all respects. That Mayavadi says. So this is indicated by the word Uttama. No one can surpass the superior position of the Lord. Okay. So importance of Loke signifies in the Parush Agama. It is described in Smriti scriptures. So Niruti dictionary explains the purpose of Vedas is explained by the Smriti scriptures. Okay. Verse number 19. Yo mamevaya sammudho janati purushottamam sa sarvavid bhajati mam sarvabhavena bharata. So whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharat. So who is the knower of everything? One who knows me as the Supreme Personality of God. If someone says that I know everything but doesn't know God, it means he doesn't know anything. And if one knows God, Supreme Lord Krishna, one engages himself in devotional service automatically. If you know that you are totally dependent on Krishna, automatically you will start worshipping Krishna. Like when you go to your workplace, you give respect. You obey your boss because you know that he is the boss of company. You cannot disobey. Once you disobey, don't listen to him, you will be out of the company. Similarly, with the birth, who is the birth giver? Krishna is the birth giver. Who is the maintainer? Krishna is the maintainer. The moment you understand this 2 points, you will start worshipping Krishna. Why? Because you understand that you are totally dependent on Krishna. Nothing belongs to you. Everything belongs to Krishna. Verse number 19. Engaging in devotional service. So, here, importance of word bhajan. Why? You understood who is Krishna. You know Krishna. That's why you start remembering Krishna. Verse number 20. Iti guhyatamam sastram idam uktam maya nagha etad buddhva buddhimanasyat krityasya bharata. Summary of Purushottam Yoga. There are 3 points. So in this chapter, essence of Vedanta is explained. In this chapter, the most confidential part, substance of the Vedas, is explained. And the one who understands this perfection understands Krishna. He is perfect. The one who understands Krishna is perfect. And what is the qualification for this understanding? Sinlessness. So if you are sinful, you cannot understand Krishna. So how to understand this knowledge? So you have to understand this knowledge as it is given by Krishna. So what is the result? One become intelligent and perfect in transcendental knowledge. Freed from all contaminations, from material modes, devotional service, and the Lord one and the same because they are spiritual. So Lord is spiritual, but we are material. But once you start worshipping, material starts worshipping, spiritual also becomes spiritual. Lord is the sun, ignorance is like darkness. Wherever there is the sun, there is no question of darkness. So what is the conclusion? Whenever devotional service is present under the proper guidance of a proper spiritual master, there is no question of ignorance. So everyone must take to Krishna consciousness and devotional service to become intelligent and purified. So without understanding Krishna, you cannot become perfect, you cannot become intelligent. So what is the most important thing one should surmount during practice of devotional service? Two kinds of weakness, cause of problem of material existence. Desire to lord it over material nature. Everyone wants to become Lord. Lording over makes one attached to matter and possession of matter. So chapter number 15 tells how to get free from this possessiveness nature. Then from verse number 6 to 20, it discusses about Purushottam Yoga. Okay? So what is the importance of anagha, sinlessness? It implies unless one is free from all sinful reactions, it is very difficult to understand Krishna. Okay, so that is the end of chapter 15. We'll stop over here. If any question you can ask. श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा।